I think y'all mentioned this as we were getting ready to record, as we saw Coach O sort of, get after Matt Canada, get after Dave Aranda. I mentioned that going into the season, there was some commentary that, that he thought that the schemes under Dave Aranda were too complicated. He was looking forward to Bo Pelini getting back in the 4-3, lining up and getting after it. And now all of a sudden on the SEC teleconference today, Coach O says, I don't care if we just run one play on defense. It's got to be one that we can execute. So, LSU now goes from, we understand there's going to be a step back, but we've got all this talent, to I don't even know if it's a 500 season. Am I overreacting? Is there a bright light or any reason to believe that the Tigers can turn this around?
Define turn it around.
I mean,
because can they finish above 500? Yeah, but compete for the SEC West? No.
But all right. So their common game with South Carolina, they both beat Vanderbilt 41-7. They got Florida, South Carolina, Auburn, Alabama, Arkansas, A&M, and Ole Miss. All right, Arkansas and Ole Miss are no longer with games you can just chalk up as wins. South Carolina, it's just by definition has been proven to be at least on similar footing based on the way they beat Vandy. Auburn is still Auburn, even if it's a little bit down Auburn. They're playing a little bit down LSU. Florida, Alabama, A&M, all of a sudden is a top 10 team, et cetera, et cetera. There isn't a game on this schedule. There's not one where you just say, well, at least they got that one. That's a win. I mean, they've played those games. Though if you were going to do that, you would have played Missouri, Vanderbilt, and Mississippi State. You could before the season, if you're chalking up, if you're going through their schedule, you're saying, well, I mean, they should start 3-0 and then let's see what happens. Right. And that's the easy part of their schedule is gone. And so they got some fixing to do. I kind of, the Bo Pelini, Ed Orgeron is, it seems like he's gone after the year, right? It's almost a given. I mean, as bad as they've played so far.
Depending on how the Florida game goes, you might be gone before that.
I mean, they still got to play. I mean, look, maybe their defense is going to make a lot of improvements. But Ed Orgeron has been.
I'm just going to take it over.
He's made kind of splash hires in the past. I remember, so Matt Canada was sort of the hot name among the offensive coordinators. He whiffed on Lane Kiffin, couldn't get Lane because Lane went to FAU. And then he went Canada, who was his backup, as sort of the hot coordinator. And that just didn't fit what he wanted to do, how he wanted to do it. And so his second hire was much less the hot coordinator and more Steve Ensminger. I trust him. Let's just get it done here. I wonder if Bo Pelini was just big name, hot hire, let us roll. And what the backup to Bo Pelini will become, because things got to get this defense is terrible. They're not tackling well. They're not doing the fundamental stuff well. They're not getting lined up. They're not it's just there's communication issues. It's just kind of bad all the way around. And so I think the message is the right one from Coach O is just, we got to get it simpler. We got to get these guys playing because they're thinking. And credit to Eli Drinkwitz, credit to the Alpha Nerd, because he made them think a lot in that game. That offense was running circles around them. But hey, at least because to answer your initial question, kind of the how bad is it at LSU deal or whatever, how bad is it going to be? The offense, even though they didn't run the ball, the offense did put up 41.
Yeah. Marshall Jr. is still sick.
Terrace Marshall Jr. just broke Jamar Chase's record. So the offense can still score points. I think they'll still will continue to score points.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, they're scoring, in 3 games, they've scored 34, 41, and 41. The offense is not the problem, but the fact that they've scored that many points and they're 1-2, not great.
It's interesting. Well, it's interesting. We excused last year's an uncharacteristic LSU defense as a byproduct of playing opposite this wide open offense that was not characteristic of LSU or frankly any SEC team. And I wonder now, as we think back, or if we were to look back, if we would judge that differently defensively based on how this defense is playing this year. Now they had some dudes, they had Patrick Queen and the DBs but I don't know. Like there seems to be something missing, whether it's just physicality, discipline, fundamentals. I don't know, but there's this is not the LSU that we're used to seeing defensively.
Yeah, but that defense also got better as the season wore on. I mean, like that we were surprised by it really early because we weren't like that Texas game. We weren't used to seeing LSU playing those kind of shootouts, so we were just still kind of acclimating ourselves to what was going to be LSU. But if you look, then there was the 38 points against Vanderbilt, which were like, what the hell? Where you're like, this is bad. But then it was, they got into the SEC. They held Florida to 28. They held Mississippi State to 13, Auburn to 20. Alabama put up 41 on them, but it's Alabama. Mississippi put up 37 on them, but they were doing that to everybody. And then they pretty much shut down Arkansas A&M. Then they held Georgia to 10 points in the SEC championship. They held Oklahoma to 28 in the playoff. They held Clemson to 25. That defense got better as the year went along, and it really wasn't as bad. It just wasn't up to the typical LSU standards.
Right.
This year's LSU defense is bad.
It is bad.
Good luck. You're last place in the SEC West. and there's not one SEC West team. Like maybe Auburn doesn't look all that threatening. Right. I guess Arkansas doesn't have a super dynamic offense, but
I mean, they should be favored against. I don't know.
I don't think they will be favored at Auburn, though.
No, I wouldn't think so either. I guess they'll be favored against Arkansas.
Yeah, I would think that Arkansas is really they'll be favored against South Carolina. And they'll be favored against Arkansas. But honestly, looking at things right now, there's really only two games I think on the schedule we could say with like extreme confidence that they'll be favored in.